I mean, it's going to be hard for you to kick like me because I'm probably one of the fastest kickers in the world. I actually fucking spilled that all over my trousers. I want beautiful technique, but I want to do it in the most effective and fast way possible. I clapped it together. The next question I got asked, and I get asked this every day. When are you next fighting? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We're back with another video. This time I put out a question and answer box on Instagram. If you're not following me, follow me on that. But I've got some pretty cool questions. So yeah, let's answer them. So I was going to give out the names of the questions and how I'm going to answer it, but some of them are a bit more personal, so I might just leave the names out of this one. But got a question about anxiety in sparring in the gym. So how to deal with anxiety when you're sparring in the gym. So there's a few kind of ways to deal with that. And there's a few points to that as well. So my point would be, like, realistically sparring, especially if you're newer to sparring, it shouldn't be too crazy. You should be trying to learn how to develop your skills. That means you have to trust your partners who you're going with. So if you're getting mad anxiety about being hurt in sparring, you're probably going with the wrong partners, if I'm honest. And that's where the coach should probably jump in and kind of guide the sparring a bit better. I know sometimes you're going to get hit, and sometimes even controlled it can hurt, especially when you're not used to getting hit in life in general. Do you know what I mean? If you're newer to sparring. But if you're really scared of getting really hurt, you're probably going a bit too hard, or your partner's probably going a bit too hard. So that's probably point number one. I feel like in the gym, trust is a massive thing. And if you don't trust your teammates or your partners, you're probably in the wrong gym, if I'm honest. But how to deal with it if you are scared, even if it's not really hard, I would say more of it. It's like anything in life. If you're scared of something, or if you've got a fear of something, going head on and just going for it is usually the way to kind of get over that fear. So I'd say do more of it. Trust your partners, have good partners to go with. If you know that someone's a really good partner and you kind of have real good rounds with them, and it's good technical sparring, sharp, a little bit hard, but not where you're trying to take each other's heads off, maybe go with him a bit more, or her, and do the rounds with them, build up your confidence, and then hopefully you can kind of get rid of that anxiety little by little. So yeah, hopefully that helps with that question. Question 2, we've got drills to keep your guard up. So again, it's like anything, like with all of these, like with Muay Thai moves or boxing or whatever, there's not really any special sauce. There's no special like tactics. It's just drilling these movements constantly. So I think this is why shadowboxing is very good, because in shadowboxing you can pick a couple of things and just like work on that the whole round. So if you're having a problem keeping your guard up whilst punching in shadowboxing, boom, jab, keep that hand up, or punch, make sure this is up. Like, you don't have to go a million miles per hour. And I think this is where people go wrong a lot of the time. They try to rush these things. They're trying to rush their moves. Again, especially what I've noticed with coaching a lot of beginners, is they come in and they think you have to go a million miles per hour straight away, and their technique obviously gets lost. Slow it all down. So if you want to get perfect technique, the only way of doing that is by literally slowing the movement down, making sure everything's perfect. Okay, if it's a jab, for instance, like, hopefully you can see my hand here, but this one stays up, cross, and it's just bringing it back. And then obviously you've got loads of other steps to it, but really slow it all down. You don't have to rush these things. It takes time. And again, like anything in life, it takes years and years of practice until you actually perfect the art. So slow it all down, and then, yeah, go through the movements a little bit more. So like with the guard as well, I know a lot of people say, keep your guard high, keep it tucked all the time, like tucked into your head all the time. But the thing is, like in a fight, if you watch some high level athletes or fighters fighting, their hands ain't always stuck to their head. They're not glued, because you need to have a bit of movement. It's more about reflex as well. As long as your hands ain't by your belly or by your legs, you know what I mean? That's when it's a problem. But your hands can kind of flutter from either like to around my chin here. Sometimes I even go a little bit lower with my left hand, but this right hand's up. Maybe if you're coming into range, you're going higher. But what I was getting at is, you don't have to do drills to sellotape in your arm. And I've seen people do this, like sellotape in your arm to your head. You don't need to do that. keep it simple. Shadow boxing, hitting the bag again, where you're not worried about shots coming back at you. Hitting the bag and just sticking to one shot, or one or two shots, and every shot, make sure that other hand's up. That's up, and then in between, practice your stance and your guard as well in that as well. So yeah, hopefully that one can help you out in your training. Okay, next question. How do you kick so fast? So, I mean, it's going to be hard for you to kick like me, because I'm probably one of the fastest kickers in the world. But nah, joking. But again, no real special answer to this. Like, if you watch my old videos when I first started, let's say when I was 11, 12, 13, I didn't kick that quick. Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't always kick that quick. I've been doing it nearly 20 years now, and over time I just drilled and drilled and drilled. But one thing I would say that really helped me was obviously drilling on the pads and on the bag. But my coach helped me a lot. So Pan, he's known as, or his nickname when he was a fighter was Dynamite Kick. So he's my Thai trainer. Dynamite Kick. He's a great kicker. Like, that was his special move. And on the pads, there was some rounds, we were doing like 5-10 minute rounds on the pads from when I was like 11 years old. And it was just kick, 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 trying to get the most effect in my kicks possible, kicking with as much speed as possible and kicking with perfect technique. And that's kind of like my coaching ethos, if you want. Like, I want beautiful technique, but I want to do it in the most effective and fast way possible. So, and that's what kind of Pan taught, without even maybe telling me that is what he was doing the whole round. Just kick, back to your stance, kick, back to your stance. So that helped a lot. And then obviously going on the bag, then putting it into playing sparring, and then you get your timing right. That's how you get quicker with the kicks. It's more about your timing as well. But yeah, just drilling it constantly. I think also another thing that will help with your speed is obviously you can do certain S&C or strength and conditioning drills, but yeah, doing the movement is gonna be the main thing that builds up that speed. But yeah, like I said, like the S&C can complement the movements as well. And also just being fitter in general. So if you kind of trust in your gas tank, in your cardio, you kind of don't mind going as effective as possible each shot, because you know that you can kind of hold up that intensity. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's another thing, is just get as fit as you can, do the movement as much as you can, whether it's a kick, whether it's a punch, whether it's an elbow, whatever the movement is, and just drill it and drill it and drill it. And again, from the last point that I made with the guard, there's no special techniques. There's no special kind of tactics. It's just drilling these movements time and time again, every day, hours and hours a day. Do you know what I mean? That's how you're going to get better. And if you want to be like world class at something, you have to be obsessed and do it every day. And that's the only way you're going to get better. There's not really any shortcuts either. These things take time. And I think that's what you've got to kind of get into your head, that you're not going to start off with rapid kicks, maybe like me. But it will get there. Do you know what I mean? You'll get there in the end. So you just got to keep going. Another one about some training techniques. Next one though is, how do you cut weight on fight week? So I'm not a nutritionist, but I've done it. Obviously, I've had nearly just under 50 fights. So I've been cutting weight a long time. To be honest, if you ask me this, I don't know, maybe like when I first was fighting in Thailand and stuff, like when I first started fighting professionally, my weight, the way I was cutting weight was crazy. Like, I was doing it how the Thais were doing it, like cutting out water on the Monday. Say if I was fighting on Friday, cutting out water on the Monday or like cutting it out little by little and just running the sweatsuit and just cutting out food and water up until the Friday weigh-in. Like, that's ridiculous and that's crazy, because there's so many other methods that are a lot safer and a lot more effective and efficient for your body. That's why I would recommend working with a nutritionist. But for me, what's worked for me in the last few years has been like, one, obviously dieting throughout the camp. So eating clean and kind of getting the calories correct. So then you start dropping weight slowly during the camp whilst you're training, and your body's still fueled up correctly so you can train hard and whatnot. But on fight week, I like to water load. So, and again, there's loads of different kind of opinions or different advice out there on water loading. So I used to do some crazy stuff with water loading as well, like drink like 9 litres of water, but I was fighting at like 55, 50, at that point like 57 kilo. It's like, there's no need to be drinking that amount of water. I think it's done on a percentage of your body weight, if I'm correct. But you water load, and I think it was like 6 litres, 6 litres, 6 litres. So again, say if I was weighing in on the Friday, on this Sunday I would start drinking 6 litres, Monday 6 litres, Tuesday 6 litres, Wednesday 6 litres, and then Thursday half a litre, and then cut the water out until the weigh-in day, and obviously after the weigh-in then you can drink. Or it could have even been 1 litre, either half or 1 litre, I can't really remember, on the Thursday, the day before the weigh-in. But during that time as well, you cut out the carbs in your diet because you're not training as much. You don't need the carbs to fuel you up so much. So I would cut the carbs out. I'd be eating like your protein, so like eggs in the morning, your chicken, your mince, your steak, whatever it is, fish. Probably stay away from fish as much because it's a bit higher in fats, but you can have that with your veg, and then you're doing that up until the weigh-in day, or like probably day before the weigh-in, and then you do a bit of sweating either the day before the weigh-in or on the morning of the weigh-in. And because you've been water loading, when you start doing like your hot baths or saunas, the weight just flushes out of you as well, and that really helped with me. So I've done my last fight, I probably pushed it a bit too far. Well, 100% pushed my weight too far, cutting down, and it did kill me off a little bit. But I should never be able to make the weight that I made, but I managed to still make it, and I think that was because of the water loading and then all the other stuff I was doing in between. So I managed to actually make the weight, but even though it probably was too low, it still worked. So yeah, hopefully that helped. I'm not really a nutritionist. It works for me, and again, you got to find your way. Some people might do different stuff. Like, this is what worked for me. Some people don't actually like water loading. So yeah, I'd say main thing would be speak to a nutritionist who knows the ins and outs of all of this. Can maybe help you with your kind of body type or your body fat percentage. You know what I mean? There's so much to it. Get some proper advice, because I'm just giving you my advice that works for me. And then, yeah, try it out and see how it goes. Some of this stuff is trial and error as well. And again, after 19, 20 years of doing it, I found my way and it worked. So just find what works for you. Okay, we've got a couple more questions. One of the questions I got asked about 1 million times, to be honest. It was one of the main questions, but we'll get to that at the end. The next question: does running a gym or a business affect your fight career? And it kind of adds on to the next question, but I'll answer that one first. Yeah, 100%. Because when I was fighting before, I had no other responsibilities. I didn't have any overheads. I lived with my mum and dad, or I just lived in Thailand. I didn't have to pay no rent. I didn't have to pay the gym rent. I didn't have to pay for equipment. I didn't have 10 fighters to look after. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's affected my fight career a little bit. I think that isn't really the reason why I haven't been fighting, though, to be honest. It isn't just because of the business, because I think you can always find time, and I've got to the stage where I've been like kind of fortunate enough to build the gym up so much where I can train with Lewis in the day and I can spar still. So that hasn't really been the main effect of me not fighting so much lately, but it definitely does make it a little bit harder. Also, like when you run in a fight team, or when you're running a business or a gym or whatever, your obligation changes. Like, a fighter is very selfish. You have to be really selfish as a fighter. But as a coach, you have to be very selfless. So I have to put all my work into these fights. And what I noticed in the last few fights is I was probably either not putting enough time into my own training because I was trying to do a class with 30 odd people in it, and I've got fighters fighting similar times, or I'm not putting enough time into them. So one thing gives, and I really, really, like, it was my dream to always build a fight team and build a gym and build a business through Muay Thai. I achieved a lot of what I set out as a fighter to achieve. So I kind of done that, and my next step, what I felt like, was the gym, building the fight team, and I really wanted to put all my effort into that, and it's obviously working because I'm opening up my own full-time facility in January now. So, and I've got a really successful fight team. We've got European champions, we've got British champions, English champions, and that's all within 2 years' time. So we've got a real good team, a great community. So it's because I put 100% effort into it, I think, and I think if I was fighting still on the side, I don't think I would have be able to build it to as successful as what it is now. So yeah, I went on a bit of a mad one there and a bit of a tangent, but yeah, it kind of does affect my fight career slightly, but that isn't really what's been the reason why I haven't fought. And that's going to be the next question. So the next question I got asked, and I get asked this every day, when are you next fighting? Every show I go to, when are you next fighting? And I haven't really said much because I don't want to be one to start going, I've retired, I'm not fighting anymore, because we're fighters and I'm young, and I'm not going to say I retired because I don't know if I have or I haven't. Do you know what I mean? I'm just kind of going with the flow, and whatever's the right move to make, I'll make it. I still keep my body in shape. Like, I train most days, even if whether it's Thai boxing training or not. I'm actually probably more conscious of my health than I ever have been, and I train probably more, like, not more, but like, I probably look after my body, like I said, in between training as well, a lot more than what I used to when I was fighting. So I'm still kind of in good shape and stuff like that. But to be honest, with the fighting, it's the injuries. It's been no secret with the hand and stuff like that. That was a big injury that kept me out for a long time. That was like 3 surgeries on my hand and kept me out for a long time. And then I come back to fight. It was a bit of a roller coaster. Had a couple of wins, a couple of losses, whatever. And then I didn't really have any problems with my hands. And then, was it February this year? I was going to fight an RWS, and I had a problem with my hand again. It wasn't even the same break or anything. It was actually just, it was like the scaphoid. So it was a different part of my hand. But I think because my hand's so messed up, whenever I punch now, all the rest of the hand is getting damaged from it. So, but that isn't, again, it actually isn't, that kind of caused the pull, like I pulled out of the RWS because I was just in pain. I was like, I can't keep going through the pain of this hand. Do you know what I mean? And also, again, going back to the last question, my business, if I have a broken hand and I can't hold pads on my fights, it affects my livelihood. I can't pay the rent of my house. Like, I can't afford to live how I want to live. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I've got that's now why I ask the questions like, is it worth it? And the fighting has to be worth it. And there's only a few things that I really want to achieve if I did fight again. And it isn't really fighting in England. It isn't really fighting, even like, I say this now and again, if I do fight again, I'll probably change my mind. But right now, there's a few things that I hadn't done in Thailand that I kind of wanted to do. If I come back, it will probably be fighting in Thailand, if I'm honest. It won't be in the UK. I'm trying to keep the UK side for my fighters to build their career here. And if I come back, it will be to fight in Thailand probably. But yeah, you just never know. I'm not going to say retired because a lot of people do that and they don't retire. I don't want to be that guy. And I just don't really know. I'm still trying to find the answer, to be honest. It's like, I think about it every day. So my girlfriend will probably tell you that. Like, one minute I tell her that I'm not going to fight ever again. Then the next time I'm fighting next week. So like, I'm not going to make a decision because I think it puts too much pressure on myself. And then it actually does drive me a bit crazy. So I'm just going to go with the flow. I enjoy my life at the moment, and I'm doing well with my business, and I want to do other things outside the fight game. I've been fighting for 20 years now, or 19 or 20 years. I think 20 years coming up next year, and my body is starting to kind of reject the training. My back's gone, my shoulder's gone. Obviously, my hand, I had problems with that. My feet, I mean, it sounds stupid, but my feet are like it's just a lot. It's obviously wear and tear. I've been doing it a long time, so yeah, never say never. And when I'm sparring and stuff, I still feel great. Do you know what I mean? I'm still sparring some of my top lads, and just ask them how I am. Do you know what I mean? I'm still sharp. I still got it, but has my body got what it takes to go through these fight camps all the time? And do I really want to keep going through these crazy injuries? And is it worth it? Like, it's the questions I ask myself every day. So I don't know when I'm fighting next. That was the question. But Am I fighting again? We'll have to see. But if it's right, and I'll do it. If not, I'm happy, man. I've managed to make a life out of Muay Thai, and I've still got my brain cells, I think. So I haven't lost all my brain cells. I've achieved a lot at an early age that a lot of people probably could only dream of. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's a hard question to answer, but we'll see. That's probably where I'm going to leave it. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video. I don't mind doing more of these. It's pretty easy to do, and I like helping out. So if people have any questions, fire away in the comments. I'll probably put some more of these question and answer boxes out on my Instagram story. So go follow me on there if you're not. Follow me on all the socials, and yeah, keep up to date. Thanks for watching. Till the next time. Peace.